Hello and welcome to a brand new day, and of course, it is Vanguard Live. And today in the news, where we talk about interesting stories on our front pages of the newspaper, as well as analyze these stories. My name is Precious Chukudi, and of course, it is glad to be here today. And I have my sweet, loving Dami as usual. Dami, how are you?
I'm fine.
So I have Damilola Ogunshaki with me. How was your weekend?
It was very great, except this morning was pretty funny. The traffic was, I don't know what to call it.
Wow.
I know I left my home as early as 5 o'clock, but I got to K2 around 7.
The traffic situation these days is becoming really, really alarming. All right, let's just move straight to Vanguard. That's our first paper this morning, and we have major headlines: Why presidency should return to South in 2023 by El-Rufai says no justification for Northerner to take over after Buhari's 8 years. We also have a Thanksgiving service of Omar Agege, yes, with some other dignitaries in the front page. And we have on page 43, Iwo Royal Rumble, AIG lied, Oluwo punch me, Agbowo insist. And on page 15 of Vanguard, we have a Dangote Group invest 63 billion naira in Southeast economy, Neji. And we have on page 43, Ondo 2020, I am not threatened by any gang up against my re-election, Akere Dolu. And lastly, on Vanguard, we have Obaseki Oshomole's feud worsens as APC leaders differ on attack. You can find more on that story on page 48. And away from Vanguard, we move straight to the Punch.
And on the front page of the Punch, Labour, Nigerian Bar Association orders Buhari for backing not National Assembly jumbo pay. And the writer, in spite of huge pay, corruption is on the increase. This is coming from Lawyers Association. President's statement deceitful, says Labour. It's disappointing. This is coming from NECA. And moving on to other stories, on page 2, President flee Adamawa town as Boko Haram threatens fresh attacks. And on page 5, Ekiti threatens prosecution as commissioner accuses teacher of raping pupils. And also on page 4 and 5, how SARS accused death of Remo Stars, star footballer. This is coming from Eyewitness. And on the stories above the nameplates, APC Governors Forum, DG Right Panel blames Oshomole for crisis. Foreign reserves dropped by $1.64 billion in 5 weeks. Details can be found in page 38. And that is all we have on the front page of the Punch. And from there, we'll go straight to Daily Trust.
And on Daily Trust, we have major headline: Jungle Justice, 73 killed, 31 injured in 1 year. Why people resort to mob action, experts. Lagos, Bayelsa, FCT, Cross River leads. You can find more on that story on page 5. And there's also an infograph showing a number of jungle justice cases between January 2019 to January 2020, showing on Daily Trust. And we have a Lassa fever kills 4 persons in Kaduna. You can find more on that story on page 7 of Daily Trust. And we have Buhari to military, go beyond repelling terrorists. You can find more on that story on page 3 of Daily Trust. And lastly, on Daily Trust, we have page 10, no new social media, phone call regulations set by federal government. And from Daily Trust, we move to this day.
And on the front page of this day, Boko Haram's threat against Buhari, empty boast, says military. Urges international community to block funding sources for terrorists. President condemns attack on Adamawa, vows to rout insurgents soonest. And details can be found on the front page, and it continues on page 54 of this day. And on the story above the nameplates, banks record loan growth on CBN lending policy. Transactions on domiciliary accounts not prohibited, says EPS Bank. And details can also be found on page 54. And lastly, on the front page of this day's newspaper, Southwest states to pass Amotekun bill this week. Details can be found on page 10 of this day's newspaper. And from there, we'll go straight to the Nation.
And on the Nation newspaper, we have major headlines: Governors upset by excess crude account depletion. Talks on insecurity, reconciliation of oil receipts for next Thursday meeting. You can find more on that story on page 7. And also we have NERC begins consultation on new electricity tariff. You can find that story on page 12. And on page 37 of The Nation, we have begging not Islamic, says Emir Sanusi. A ruler cautions on Almajiri. And on page 10 of The Nation, we have ex-naval director forfeits 500 million naira to federal government, court Okeza action. And from The Nation, we also have a very interesting topic after this commercial break we're going to take, and we have a very interesting guest. We always look forward to seeing his face, and it's in the person of Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye. But when we come back, we introduce you to him, and also we'll be talking about insurgency and military. We'll be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, as today in the news on Vanguard Live, and we just took the newspaper review. We're moving on to the analysis segment where we talk about interesting topics on social media and on our front page of the newspaper rather, and also what we have for you today. So we're going to move on to one of the interesting topics this morning, and it's why presidency should return to South in 2023 by El-Rufai. So I'm going to introduce our guest in the studio, and this is in the person of Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye, and he's a public affairs analyst. It's good to always have him here. You're welcome, sir.
Yeah,
all right, so this is a very interesting topic at the front page of a Vanguard newspaper. Why presidency should return to South in 2023 by El-Rufai. Like, El-Rufai is saying this, like, that the president should come to the South. This is, really very interesting. What do you think about that?
For fairness and equity, I believe he has a point. But beyond such statement, what is the driving factor, the motivating factor? That's what we should ask. Because before now, the Northerners believe that most of them have been clamoring that power must come back to the North. So what is the motivating factor? If it's for fairness and equity, fine. Well, if it's for something that might be beneficial to his person or maybe one or some other person, as the day goes by, we would know.
Okay. Okay, so, and also the writer is saying, says no justification for Northerners to take over after Buhari's 8 years. So he's saying that, the Northerners, we've had our own experience of, having one of us rule, So, like, wouldn't it be fair for us to pass this baiting to other people?
Well, there will not be difference even though you give a southerner, as they put it, whether the southwest, southeast, south, because the same system of government is still what we see. Because let's look beyond, okay, this region will rule, this one is going to rule. Let us look at restructuring this nation. So whoever is there, know that there is already a laid down rule, or a system or an institution that is already on ground that you meet and you have to conform with it. But for now, whoever that comes there will still almost see the same thing.
Are you saying that the structure is what is that for?
Is what we need now for the country to move forward with all the challenges we are facing.
All right, so away from that, our major talking point this morning is insurgency and Nigeria military, who is winning the war. And this is coming from how much we've been having Boko Haram attacks, in coming years. We've had it for over a decade now. insurgency here and there, Boko Haram killing people, military people fighting them, and losing people. What can you basically say about the
war.
whole insurgency happening in the country? Is it getting from bad to worse, or is it at the stage where we can say, okay, we are winning now or something?
Prior to 2015, before Buhari came to power, towards the tail end of Jonathan's administration, he took a decisive action, and we saw the effects even before after the kidnap of the Chibok girls. Then subsequently, during the campaign 2015, Buhari told us that Osinbajo will manage the economy, that he will take charge of security, that Boko Haram in less than 6 months will become a thing of history. But today, reverse has been. Last year was 10 years of the insurgency. It was celebrated by United Nations, and looking at way forward, or how these things could stop. We found out that the present administration under Buhari, the thing has gone from worse to bad, because the government, all their policies, whatever, is built around propaganda. They tell us today that they have killed 500 Boko Haram. Good. But how many soldiers has lost their life, which is not reported in the media? So that is another issue.
So personally, did you, looking at the whole insurgencies and everything, did you ever think that the fight against Boko Haram insurgency would last this long?
Well, normally, if the government are sincere, or the people in power are sincere, let me put it this way, Boko Haram shouldn't take them anything, because it's an internal squabble. But they have left it based on few people are benefiting from the failed system. So it becomes, last 2 years, it was a bit, they released over $1 billion from $1 billion from the SS Food account before the last election, that they want to use it to purchase equipment to fight Boko Haram. So what is the outcome? Even soldiers, there is no proper welfare. There is no motivating factor. You see, let me tell you, the Boko Haram, they have gone from AK-47 to GPMG, a sophisticated weapon. And the Nigerian army, they are still using AK-47. So how do you expect to have superior firearms or counter against the Boko Haram?
Okay, now speaking about sophisticated weapons, the Boko Harams, some of the military have they've recounted that they see these people they are fighting with, and they have more, they are better equipped than the military. Then how is this even happening in a country where we're supposed to be fighting against ammunitions coming into the country, and even protecting our citizens away from insecurities and all those kind of things? How does this affect us?
The system is still, they are not sincere. How will you say the Nigerian army, say Boko Haram they are more equipped? Where do they get those equipment from? Who is the sponsor? How do those things come in? Those are one question we should ask them. And for the Nigerian army still using AK-47, I think it's high time, or it's time that the chief of army staff is questioned. Because no sane economy, this Boko Haram issue could have been won since. It's just that some people are benefiting from it, and
you've mentioned this. Some people are benefiting from it, and you said it again. So how do we know that people are really benefiting from this? Because this is a matter of security, and we shouldn't see putting people's life, at stake, and we're saying some people are benefiting from it.
Let me just give you a scenario why I made such statement. Some Nigeria, I've spoken with few of them, or 1 or 2 people who happens to partake in this fight against insurgents. They will come out and tell you that there is a certain amount of money which was supposed to be given to them, but based in the Nigerian army, the military, you don't protest, you obey the last order, and you obey the last order from your superior or your commander. If you go against him by a way of revolt or protest, it becomes mutiny. Like some of them tell you that a day they are paid 1,000 naira, apart from salaries. But normally, when they from the headquarters, I think the money which is supposed to be allocated to rank and file is 5,000, based on number of years. But they give them 1,000. So the remaining balance of that money, where does it go to? There is no insurance, there is no proper welfare, and you tell me that somebody somewhere, those money is not accounted for by somebody somewhere. So that's why I said some people are benefiting from it.
All right. So speaking about welfare of the military, we had in the newspapers we weeks back about how Vanguard even carried out a report on how some of these military people are not being well paid, they're not being well taken care of, and even we even saw like a drastical like increase immediately after Vanguard took that report of how they increased some of the military people's salaries and all that, and these are people who are basically taking care of us, fighting our wars and everything. Should this be happening in a country where you send people out to go fight and protect the citizens, and yet they're not well taken care of, they're not giving proper gratuities and all of that? Should this be happening?
The so-called taking care of the military, I think it's the fault of we don't have laws that protects the military. Even though we have laws, how effective are those laws? Because Senator Ali Dume, who is the chairman House Committee on Defense, he made a statement. He said the number of military who are people, we need more workforce that supposed to be on the field to counter this insurgency. That the number of people, manpower on the field are not sufficient. It's not as if people don't want to join the military, but these days, go to the barracks, you see most people now, there are a lot of widows.
Sure.
A lot of widows. So when with such happenings, most people will tell their young lads, please don't go there. When you go there, and what they do these days in Nigerian army, you see a train that's supposed to be 1 year, they cut it short to 4 months, 5 months. So after the train, they push all those intake.
So they are saying they are not well groomed.
They are not well groomed because they are short of manpower. So they need the available hands at that moment to push them to fight the insurgency.
Okay, so you're saying that they need a lot of hand.
They need a lot of hand, not just a lot of hand. They should be strategic in the war, because this is 21st century. You cannot be sending people. Last year, we lost more than 400 soldiers, and nobody, the news, they don't report, the media doesn't report that. The only thing we hear is that they have killed number of Boko Haram. But what happens to the soldiers who lost their life?
Okay, so do you think that the people that have lost their life, they've not, in the Nigerian government have really not been doing anything for their families?
It was recently that about 100 or something people were compensated by the Nigerian army. They gave them checks, but does that count? What of the previous ones? Okay,
now talking about this, a bill was presented on Thursday, to the Senate, and it was sponsored by the former governor of Yobe State. And this bill is titled the National Agency for Education, and it's to provide rehabilitation, to rehabilitate people, educate and reintegrate the Boko Haram students back into the society. And we have a lot of people against this, especially the surprise in the face of the Senate. It couldn't be overlooked. Most of them were surprised about it and giving them a lot of comment. So what's your take on this bill?
Reintegrating Boko Haram.
Yeah, integrating the repentant Boko Haram
to the mainstream of the society.
Yes.
As in, I still don't understand, because when I saw that bill initially, I was, is this real? Is this happening? That even in the rule of engagement in international warfare, those people, they're not supposed to work freely. They're supposed to keep them in the prison and use them to get or spy on others. But whereby you are bringing people who have wasted people's life, destroyed people, in fact, they have the killings is something we can't count, and you are releasing them back to the society. That means you are encouraging people to become insurgent. Likewise, kidnappers should be people who are kidnappers. DSS should absorb them. Then the so-called 419, how they call it, the Yahoo boys, then they should work with EFCC. So if crime is something glamorous in the society, because I don't see how the usefulness of those insurgency, those Boko Haram members, the repentant one, I don't see their usefulness in the society.
Okay, some people are of the opinion that creating an agency for the repentant Boko Haram is a way of giving Boko Haram a form of recognition, to say that yes, we're seeing this Boko Haram group as part of us. That's what they're saying. Now, I was saying that the international community when they like ISIS members are caught, they don't do all these things. We don't get to see where they say, okay, there's a repentant ISIS member, so we want to form an agency where we groom them and all those kind of things. Why is this now a form of discourse for us here, where we're talking about people who were once brainwashed? Are they still thinking that when they come back in society, these same things will not happen still?
No, you said something, international community. When it comes to international diplomacy, there is a rule of engagement that allow you swap prisoners, especially when it has to do with country by country. We have seen that many times within American journalists who were kidnapped in within the Middle East. So the American government had to release some of their ISIS members, and they released those journalists. So it becomes a bilateral exchange to swap each other. But this has nothing to do with it's an internal one bullet
Well,
conflict.
looking at this, you can a little compare it to, there are people are comparing it to Niger Delta. But when we are looking at Boko Haram, let's look at Boko Haram. The Boko Haram, we don't know what is their mission. Because some people are saying that it's for religious purpose, but they are killing both Muslims and Christians. But the Niger Delta, we knew these people, we knew them, and we know that they are fighting for their agitation or for their rights. But Boko Haram now, we don't really know what their mission is, and we don't know the identity of these people. So bringing them into the, creating this agency for them, what is it, and how is it going to affect, is it going to affect the African Nigerians, and psychological effects that it's going to have?
Like what you said now about comparing Niger Delta militants with Boko Haram, they are two different entities and organizations. They are not at par, because one, we know Niger. Somebody said this earlier a few days ago. If Niger Delta militants, they can create an agency for them for amnesty, that Boko Haram should be given amnesty. I said, well, no problem. But we all know that Niger Delta, they were never into killing of individuals. Their mission, their cause, they had a cause which was resource control, agitation of having a share in the golden egg which was produced within their communities or their region. That in so doing, that we only knew what we knew Niger Delta militants were doing then was to kidnap foreign expatriates. But the issue of killing individual at will, like what Boko Haram is doing, there is no cause. Boko Haram doesn't have a cause, it's championing. So when you say Boko Haram comparing it to Niger Delta, they are two different things. Like Boko Haram, they are more of a religious organization.
But do we know the identity of this Boko Haram?
The government know them. We want to get
because some people are saying that they are Nigerians, and we are talking about saying we want to give them amnesty, and we have people that are saying that they are from the neighboring countries, that they are not from Nigeria. And so if we create an agency for those people, people are asking that is it not a way of saying that terrorists are welcomed into Nigeria?
So, like you said, someone said the other day, the government said Boko Haram or herdsmen are not Nigerians, they are from Mali, Niger, Chad. So why are you creating an agency for repentant Boko Haram or herdsmen? That means you are encouraging other people from neighboring African countries to come in, so they will benefit from the system.
Okay, so you're saying that the government knows
they know
Boko Haram?
They know most of them.
So how are you very sure about that?
I'm not a security expert, but they know better. Nigerian government, if they want to get you, they get you.
Because
look
if
the
government is trying to fight against insecurity, then how will you say that they know the same people?
Look at the issue of Don Wane, the guy who was killed 2 years ago or last year in Rivers State, Port Harcourt. He was a dreaded kidnapper. They looked for him here and there. It was the SS that caught him in the hotel he was, and he was killed. The government wants you, they go by, especially when we have mobile device and gadget these days. They will always get you.
All right, so Dami, do you have some comments on the page?
Most of the comments here are just not really talking about this, just going back and forth on each other on the topic. So we'll go back to it later on.
Okay, so what would you suggest as a way forward for the Nigerian military and also their fight against insurgents?
The military should embrace fresh ideas and modern techniques in approaching this fight than going, because we cannot be using the method of 1983 when Buhari was a president, or before 1983 when we had similar insurgents like the Maitasini, which Buhari conquered them. Maitasini was somebody from Cameroon during the time of Alex Ekweme and Shagari. that came in and started fomenting trouble. It was Buhari that crushed those might and cynic group. We cannot use that method to fight Boko Haram. These Boko Haram people, they are well sophisticated. They have mobile gadgets, they have well internet connections where they post videos and you can't trace their location. They have good, in fact, their how will I put it? Their missions are one of the best compared to Nigerian army. So they should change tactics to achieve to get results.
Okay, so do you think that the service chiefs have a way of affecting this level of insurgencies in the country? You know, because people have been calling out for them to, you know, sack them, that insecurity is too much. Do you think that there's a chance that as a result of we still having this same set of people for the past 5 years, that's the reason why there are no new tactics and you know whatnot?
With service chief, I don't know what they are still doing there. At least people must rise. People under them are retiring and they are still there. They're supposed to go. Let other fresh ideas come in.
There's actually something I want to really hear your reaction on, because you know, you mentioned that we needed more hands when it comes to the military, and we have Senator Danjuma, you know, Kaduna South Senator, you know, he made a statement. You know, he said some of these Boko Haram, you know, he said that when they were caught in the act, most of them were caught in the act, you know, the suicide bombers, and you know, they were kept in IDP, and they talked to them, they fed them, even overfed them and treated them. Then after 3 months, you know, they absorbed them back into the army. They absorbed them back into the army. Although the military they've since debunked this rumor that no, it's not true. Now, people are raising the opinion that should they really be added into the military, saying that because they are trained and you know they know these arts and they know better the people of the Boko Harams, and then that they should be added back into the military. Should they add them, or is it posing a national threat, you know, to the country?
I think I see them, their security threat and risks to the Nigerian army. Just bringing a repentant Boko Haram into a system. And you tell me that the Nigerian army, and you tell me that when those same Boko Haram, they don't have emotions or feelings when you ask them to go and kill their fellow Boko Haram.
But the question now is said within 3 months. Let's just assume that, because they've said that yes, it's not true, but let's assume that yeah, it is. Within 3 months, is it possible for to make people that would have been washed according to the government? No, is it possible that within 3 months that they can talk to them and they will be able to repent?
Well, they can. Well, to them, some of them can repent, but I don't think it's the right thing for government to rehabilitate them or reintegrate them into the army, because it's not proper. Because at the end of the day, they will still they will send some of them to the warfare to go and face what initially was facing them. And you think they will not have that soft spot?
Okay, so you're saying that if you don't support the agency for repentance,
I don't support that.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ifeanyi Okoye, public affairs analyst. It was good to have you discuss with us insurgency and Nigeria military. So that's all we are going to have for you for now, but we're going to go on a very short break. When we come back, Dami has a lot of things to tell us about sports on the weekend. I know you have all the information with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I will be back after this quick break. All right, welcome back, and of course, it's the sports segment where we talk about all the sports that happen on the weekend, and of course, we had Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder on the weekend, and people are really excited about how the match turned out. The heavyweight title rematch, it was really interesting. So, Dami, I'll ask you. So, how was the Fury destroy Wilder in heavyweight title rematch? How was it?
Should I say that it was not expected or it was expected? A lot of Wilder fans didn't really expect it.
I was hearing people, a lot of people were rooting for Tyson Fury.
A lot of Nigerians were rooting for Tyson Fury because we're saying that our very own Anthony Joshua is going to face him. Depends on who turns out the winner in this match. And people were saying that Tyson Fury they want AJ to face Tyson Fury because they are scared of him facing, the beast himself, Deontay Wilder. But I guess the Tyson Fury actually stopped Deontay Wilder. It stopped Deontay Wilder in the seventh round for this rematch. And it was actually wonderful. When Deontay Wilder entered the ring, he came with a masquerade clothes, and when he was going out, it was actually taken to the hospital. I know this has actually gotten a lot of people talking that the beast has been put down finally by Tyson Fury, and people are saying that a lot of people are also saying that he deserves it. He makes a lot of money, but that is not what it does. The skills, saw a lot of skills in action that day. So it really proved that it's a match that people were really expecting, and it met a lot of people.
And Tyson Fury was saying, wearing a Nigerian gum shield.
The people said that it's like a message to Anthony Joshua that yes, I'm going to face you next. But Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury is actually saying that he's looking towards maybe another rematch with Deontay Wilder. That Deontay Wilder might, there might be a rematch with them again. But if there is not, then he'll be facing Anthony Joshua. And I guess then we're going to have a lot of Nigerians expecting this, looking forward to this rematch.
Alright, so let's talk about the MPFL results.
For the MPFL results over the weekend, we have Adamawa United with 2-1 to. We have Adamawa United. They won Ifeanyi Uba, that's a 2-1, and Aqua United and Warri Wolves. It was a draw, and Jigawa with Wiki Tourist, that is 2-1 with Jigawa with 2, and Castina won with 1-0 to Abia Warriors. And Lobby Stars, it was also a draw with Plateau United. And we had MFM FC with Atlant, which was also a draw. And then Nasarawa United and Eyiba, that's a 2-0 with Nasarawa United winning Eyiba. And we have Rivers United and Kano Pillars with River United 2-1 and Kano Pillars 1. And we have Sunshine and Rangers, it was a draw. And on the EPFL, Man United won Watford 3-0. And Wolves to Norwich, it was also 3-0, and Arsenal won Everton with 3-2. And then in the Bundesliga, we have Leverkusen and Augsburg with 2-0, with Leverkusen having the 2. So that's the results over the weekend. And today features actually in the EPL, we have Liverpool and West Ham playing at 9 p.m. And in Bundesliga, we have Frankfurt and Berlin playing at 8:30 p.m. So that's basically what's happening today.
Right. So we should be, and we have this one from Igalo plays at Man United trashes Watford.
They really trashed them 2-0, which I think it was really trashing. But Igalo, people were looking forward to it, and obviously says he showed his dribbles. We are still looking forward to that score. Him getting that score is the main thing for Nigerians. Let's look at it.
Alright, so if you want to get more information on sports, you can check Vanguard Sport for more information on some of our other sports stories. Yeah, let's move to this very interesting one from Mr. and Mrs. And Mrs. is saying 3 women were fighting over you in your dream. By the grace of God, that dream will come true. And Mr. is saying, but Cynthia, I said one of them had a box full of dollars with her. Do you get the message?
I think if you are let me show it to you. If you are the one, and your husband said he's dreaming of 3 women, dragging her, and he said one of them is using box of dollars.
The point that she's trying to make is that why would 3 women be fighting over you in your dream?
But one of them had a box full of dollars.
How are we sure you're saying the truth? All right, so that's what Mr. and Mrs. have for us today. And remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing across your screen. And also, tell your friends to always stay tuned to Vanguard Live, because we'll keep bringing you more interesting programs during the course of the day. My name is Precious Chukudi, and I have with me
Damilola Okunshake.
and this is where Dami is going to bring sports gist later. She's going to tell you everything you need to know about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, the NPFL, the EPL. She's telling you everything. You're going to get all the gist and gossip on that one. So you're going to stay tuned with Dami in a short while. She'll be back to tell you all about all the sports gist. And this is where we draw the curtain. Still will come your way. That's tomorrow on Today in the News. Keep it locked with us today on our other shows for today, and it's bye from us.